everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday. It's May 17th. It is 2024. We got a huge one. We have a 13-game baseball slate to talk about here on today's podcast, joined by my good buddy, as always on Fridays, ChiefJustice06, Will Priester. Will, what is happening, my friend? It's been a week, and we've had a lot of big slates when we've done. This is the third podcast, and it's been some big ones this week.
Yeah, man. A lot. I mean, huge slates. I think I was mentioning in the prop shop earlier today. I was like, man, I'd much rather have a few more games on Thursday and then like a 8 to 10 game slate on Friday. But it is what it is. This is the way the MLB seems to be doing it, at least on the front end of the season. And as long as they're offering them, I plan to be here and break them down. So definitely glad to come on and talk through what I deem a really interesting slate today. Yeah, very interesting to be exact.
Yeah. Thanks. You saw me drinking water. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really interesting slate because we got pitching that like in tougher spots, and we'll talk about some of these spots. My Thursday slate not going great. I'll be honest. I played a single entry team, and it's just not looking good. I made a couple swaps, and the swaps that I did, like, it never fails, right? Like the swaps you do sometimes, but Glass now kind of getting beat up in the first inning, not helping that team, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. The team is just not great, so it doesn't really matter. Even if the Dodgers go off, I'm just hoping the Dodgers win at this point, because I did that parlay that I talked about on the podcast yesterday of like a 2-team parlay, Houston and Dodgers money line. And then the only other bet that I did today was Tajon Walker under strikeouts, and that just seemed like easy money, but hey, we'll take it.
Listen,
what's up, YouTube?
I need Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman to all get about 6 to 7 DraftKings points. And if they do this, Steve, please, just Dodgers don't have a meltdown. Just please, everybody, do your job. Steve, if they do this, my day will be saved, I think. I think my day will be saved. Please.
On a fun note, Ellie De La Cruz, stolen base number 27. Dude, just can't let that guy get on base. He just runs. But yeah, we got 13 games. We're gonna jump in. What's up, YouTube? Hope everyone is having a fantastic Thursday night. Yeah, I mean, I will say too, we went in and we did a long breakdown on Christian Javier. I can't wait to go and look at if he used his slider more in the start on Thursday, because his swinging strikes look great. I was watching some of that game, so it looked like he was throwing more sliders. So, hey, All right, we got Seattle at Baltimore. No total in this game. I don't know why there's not a total in this game. Everything I've looked at has Bryce Miller against John Means, so it should be these two guys facing off against each other. Any interest here in Bryce Miller going up against Baltimore?
I actually think I have slight interest, Stevie, just because he's reasonable. In this slate, while we have a lot of pitchers available, Stevie, some of the good pitchers are just in really tough spots, and I don't want to play them. I'm not thrilled about taking Miller against Baltimore, but I'm getting a discount. So I think I'll have a few shares. I think my pitching pool is going to be a lot more expanded than I want it to be today, at least with us just talking through it right now. So we will see. But I think at 9K, I think I'll have a few shares.
Can't stop yawning. One of those nights. But, yeah, I mean, tough matchup on DraftKings. He's 9K. I don't think there's a safe top-end pitcher today. Like Freddie Peralta's going up against Houston. Scoble has Arizona. I really like Nestor Cortez, but I hate the fact that he's one of the most expensive pitchers on the slate. I don't ever look at pricing until we get on air. That's just been a thing that I've done for years. And he was one of the guys that I wrote down as like one of my favorite pitchers on the slate, but he is the third and most expensive pitcher on the slate. So that threw me off a little bit. Cole Reagan's Oakland pretty solid against left-handed pitching, and then you got Miller. Tough matchup against Baltimore. So not a safe spot, but I mean you got to attack the upside. He has a 28% K rate, 25% whiff rate, and a 12% swinging strike rate. Like he is a good strikeout pitcher. Where he tends to struggle is lefties, which is definitely a little concerning when facing Baltimore because this lineup is very good. So you're a little worried about that. But, I mean, any interest in John Means on the other side of this one?
I think at 7,900, looks like, Stevie, he's going to start, he's going to be pitching roughly, looks like this start he should get the 90-ish pitches as long as he's going well. He's probably one of our better pitchers. If he can, pick up a few strikeouts here and not get shelled, he could very well end up, with 20 fantasy points. So if he pitches with good control, he'll have some strikeouts. I like Means at 7,900.
I mean, I think you just gotta. I think you have to just attack the strikeout upside in the Seattle lineup. They have power. They have a lot more power against left-handed pitching. They have 15 home runs against left-handed pitching on the season, which is the sixth most. Their ISO is really high at 184, but they have a 27% K rate. So I think you're just kind of attacking the strikeout upside with this one. We know John Means is a guy that, has some strikeout upside. Sitting around 25% in his two starts. Really had a good start against Cincinnati, really struggled against Arizona. The flip side of this too, right? The flip side of John Means here is, the dude is a fly ball pitcher facing a team with a ton of power. So like on teams that you're not playing John Means, I think you have to have a little exposure to Julio Rodriguez. You have to have a little exposure to Cal Riley, Ty France, Mitch Haniger, Dylan Moore. Like, I think that's just a given in this spot. Like, you got to attack the home runs here. I mean, Cal Riley has a 5.15 ISO against left-handed pitching this season.
Yeah, unbelievable. And I'm with you 100%, Stevie. I think, with these Seattle bats, I definitely wouldn't play them against Miller on this big of a slate. I don't think that's the right approach. But I definitely think hedging with one-off power is certainly the way to go here. You talk about Julio, man. I have been able to get Julio right all year, and most people haven't because he's been awful. But in this spot, I definitely think he could rattle off. When you talk about Mitch Haniger, he's 3,700. He's very cheap. Because they haven't been hitting well overall, a lot of these guys are cheap. I mean, Cal Riley's 4,500, but I don't mind playing him in this spot either. See, once again, so I'm not stacking him. It would be mostly one-off power, and that's what I'd be doing with the Seattle bats.
Any interest in the Baltimore bats here?
You can always play Rutschman, I think, Stevie. Gunnar Henderson is still in play. I've talked about Mullins at 4,100, and, he's cooled off a bit, but still, I still think he's got enough cachet to get the job done. So I like him. Obviously, you can play O'Hearn if you need to as well. But, yeah, I don't want to stack. I think Baltimore would be probably more of a mini stack situation or a one-off situation. I'm not full stacking Baltimore by any stretch.
Yeah, Miller's a good pitcher. Like he's not typically a guy you're stacking against. Miller is we've seen him now for like 2 seasons, but when he does struggle, he struggles with fly balls and hard contact to lefties. So like if you want to play like a Henderson or a Rutschman and you want to pay up these prices for them, I think that is definitely something you can do here. The other thing that I want to throw out there is I think this is a really interesting spot for a guy like Colton Cowser. Gotta, try that like home run, like power type guy that, potentially benefits from a fly ball pitcher. So Mullins is another guy. Isn't Cedric Mullins a huge ground ball hitter? I got to look it up now because now I can't remember. But yeah, Mullins is a 40% ground ball guy. Kouser is a 50% ground ball guy. They're both going to benefit from a fly ball pitcher like Bryce Miller. So don't hate those guys down there towards the bottom. Chicago White Sox at the New York Yankees. We got Clevenger and Cortez, 8.5 total in this game. The Yankees are a 290 favorite. Starting here with, Mike Clevenger. Mike Clevenger, not very good anymore. Like, there was a time that Mike Clevenger was really good. Just overall, man, looking at Clevenger, he had 5 strikeouts last time out against Cleveland. I remember tilting that very much because I had his under strikeout prop. If it's at 4.5, I'll probably take it again on this slate, even against the Yankees. Like, I think that line is really good. A line to definitely take advantage of. He threw only 73 pitches last time out. Got a little bit of a trouble with 2 outs in the 5th, and they pulled him, so he went 4 2/3 on that one. So I just don't think this is a spot you want to waste a roster spot on Mike Clevenger. Will, any thoughts here on Clevenger against the Yankees? I hope he froze again. He is not having the best internet success this weekend or this week. The other side of this game, Cortez is, again, like, I know the price is steep and like you're definitely concerned about the price of Cortez in this one, but the White Sox are awful against left-handed pitching. They are atrocious. Like, if we look at, they have a 36 WRC plus, a 217 WOBA, a 180 average. Their ISO is 80. Cortez has strikeout ability. He has strikeout upside. This is just one of those spots where I honestly just might pay the price tag and not feel good about it. Will, thoughts on?
Yeah,
Cortez?
man. I
think you're back.
Yeah, I'm here. Yep, I'm back. My computer was tricking itself, bouncing between my router and my phone. I think it's just my mobile hotspot, hopefully now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, good. So, yeah, I like Cortez here. I know the White Sox have improved a little bit, but, in terms of getting guys back, but I like Nestor. I think Nestor does his thing. And we're talking about Clevenger, but I like Nestor Cortez.
I'm guessing you don't like Clevenger though, right?
No. No way. No way.
Just wanted to make sure. We didn't get to ask you that part. But yeah, very interesting. Cortez, lefties against Chicago White Sox, definitely a thing right now. And again, like, Cortez, he has that like downside. Don't get me wrong, but I think that this is just one of those guys I want to take some shots on today. Going to the bats here. Any interest in the Chicago White Sox bats?
Nope. Too many games in this slate. I'm not playing them today.
Yeah, didn't Patrick Corbin just pitch really well against them?
Stevie, don't get me started.
Do we need to say anything else?
I've had so many bad beats, Stevie, like, just in general, like the past week. So this is how I know, like, I'm about to go through a week where I'm just going to start sweeping and, like, I'm going to be on fire. I'm sorry. I'm going to take 30 seconds, Stevie, and vent, and then I'm done with this. So I take Justin Steele today, and they got to bump up to 6 on the pick'em side. So I take under 6 strikeouts. He's at 6 strikeouts. They bring him out for the 6th inning. He's at 79 pitches. He strikes out the last batter. He's at 88 pitches, Stevie, and then they pull him at 5 2/3 innings. Why? Just let him finish the outing. But he had already got beat up anyway. So that's why I thought, okay, yeah, they'll probably just let him ride because he's coming off injury. No, they bring him out, he strikes out the guy. Okay. Yesterday, I took Patrick Corbin over 17.5 pitching outs. He's cruising, Stevie. Nothing's going wrong. They pull him out at 17 pitching outs exactly at 82 pitches. And the same stuff has been happening all week long. Yesterday, I took Ranger Suarez over fantasy points. Don't you know they pulled Ranger Suarez at like 82 pitches yesterday, Stevie, through 5 innings? Philly was pummeling that team. Like, it's just been bad beat. That's bad beat. And I've got more this week that I could add up if I were to remember it. But anyway, those are probably more than my 30 seconds. I promise I won't derail the show again. Thanks, everyone, for allowing me to vent and come into your homes and lean on your therapy chair. All right, I'm back. Stevie, get this thing back on the rails.
The only White Sox bat that I have any kind of interest in whatsoever is Tommy Pham. He's the only guy. He should lead off here. He's 4,300. He's good against left-handed pitching. This is in Yankee Stadium. He's the guy. I think the Yankees are a top stack on the slate today. I do not believe in Clevinger at all. Like, not one bit. Like, not one bit of me thinks that Mike Clevinger is good. I don't care what just happened. He got the best Cleveland Guardians lineup that you could possibly get. Like, we had bet the under on Clevenger's strikeouts in that game, and I was like so confident about it. And the lineup came out, and I was like, "What is Cleveland doing right now?" So
they've done that a couple times this year. They've done that a couple times this year. Yeah,
that's the thing, though. Like, when they give guys days, they like give the lineup days. They don't like just, "Hey, Jose Ramirez, you're going to get a day off." It's like, "Hey, Jose Ramirez, Naylor, everybody go sit on the bench. AAA team, go play baseball." But yeah, I mean, overall, I have a ton of interest in the Yankees stack against Mike Clevinger.
Ohtani stolen base. Derek, keep me up to date here. I need to know what's going on with these DraftKings fantasy points for the Dodgers. If I can just get Ohtani, Freeman, and Betts over 6 fantasy points, it's going to be a great evening. Please. All right, Stevie, I promise no more. Sticking to the script here.
You're good. Moving on, we got Tampa Bay at Toronto. No total in this game. Bassett's pitching. Some places have Tyler Alexander pitching here. Maybe he doesn't pitch, but that's what some places have. So we're going to break it down as if Alexander's pitching. Any interest in Alexander here going up against Toronto?
No.
Yeah, low strikeout guy, 225 ISO, 350 WOBA. I mean, very splits neutral as far as fly ball, ground balls, and hard contact galore. Gives up a lot of barrels to righties. We're going to definitely be playing some of these Toronto bats, and we'll talk about them in just a second. Bassett against Tampa. Any interest here in Chris Bassett?
Do I need Chris Bassett today? That is the question. Is he going to see enough lefties? I don't know, Stevie, and that's my concern. I typically just don't play Chris Bassett anymore unless, he's facing Minnesota or something. But see, you can't take him against Minnesota now, Stevie, because they're pretty much going to run out 7 lefties. So I don't really want to play Bassett even at 7,200. I don't think he's got enough upside. I mean, he's 7,200 for a reason. Don't get me wrong. And Tampa Bay hasn't been great, but I don't like Chris Bassett right now. He's just not pitching well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I have slight interest in Bassett today, and it's more of just like Bassett has been really good against righties this year, really bad against lefties. The 3 best hitters in this lineup are right-handed. So, you have to obviously worry a little bit here about like a Josh Lowe, which is a little concerning. But like overall, I think that you could potentially take shots on Chris Bassett at 7,200 today. There's not a lot of great options down here today. They pushed him. Like, he was supposed to pitch Tuesday. It got rained out. And then Wednesday, they went with Kikuchi, which actually probably benefited them because he's been so bad against lefties. And then they moved him to today. If this game was in Tampa, I'd have a ton of interest in Bassett, but I think he's playable today. I think he's okay. Any interest in the Tampa bats here?
Paredes has been, dare we say, spectacular, Stevie? I mean, he's been one of their best bats. Now, I know he's a righty, but Stevie, low K rate, ton of power. I still think he's okay. Like, I know Bass has been great to Riders, but I think Paredes could get a hold of one here. Outside of that, I'm really not thrilled about playing anyone from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Josh Lowe, I think at 4,200, he's been great this season against right-handed pitching. He's the type of guy that profiles really well against a guy like Chris Bassick, so I don't mind that. But I'm not going out of my way here to play a lot of these guys. If Arnanda is 20, yeah, he's 2,800 at second base. If he hits like fourth or fifth again, like I don't hate him. He hit fourth against Criswell on Thursday. He's really cheap, so you could use him at second base. And then like at that point, like if you're going to play low in Aranda, you could probably throw in Paredes, like you said, righty, and just take the bat here. So Toronto, like Toronto a lot. You know, we talked about the Yankees. I think Toronto is another top stack on today's slate if it is Alexander.
Yeah, for sure. I really like Toronto here. Stevie, the bad thing is I very rarely get Toronto correct. Toronto and the Yankees, man. I play them and they disappoint. Alexander's probably going to throw a gem today, but I have to take these guys. Give me Springer. Give me Vlad at 4,900. You know, I like these guys. They've got obviously Bo Bichette playing back in the fold. Schneider's been playing. They've been kind of playing Danny Jansen also. Jansen should get the start here. I think Toronto's a good team, and hopefully they don't mess us up here. And I'm thrilled to play Toronto against Alexander. This is a really good spot for this team. Like, really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, Bichette's one of my favorite hitters on the slate. He's 4,400. He has 2 home run upside. Yeah, I just absolutely love this spot. Jansen, I think that, you know, as a catcher, you want to pay a little bit up for Jansen. I think that he's in a great spot. It'd be really interesting if Justin Turner is back in the lineup or not. He's a little banged up right now, so lot of potential here for Toronto. Love this spot if it is Alexander. And like Tampa's bullpen is known for being really good. Not this year. They're like bottom 5. So you could definitely pick on the bullpen too. Minnesota at Cleveland, 8 total in this game. Cleveland, a 120 favorite. Woods Richardson against McKenzie in this one. Any interest here in Simone, Woods Richardson?
No.
Yeah, just not a lot of upside. Low strikeout matchup. I'm with you on this one. Any interest in McKenzie here at 8,700 against Minnesota?
No, I'm not playing him either today. I mean, Minnesota's been much more improved. I'm not paying 8,700 for McKenzie. Not doing it.
Yeah, the price tag is the thing that has me like some of the pricing today. And again, I don't look at it until we get going here, and just some of the pricing stands out to me sometimes. And like this one, just the pricing just seems off for McKenzie, like just in general. And like I will say, like he has pitched a little bit better recently, but he's throwing a slider a lot more. So I don't know if that's something that's going to be sustainable with the arm injury that he has, but his fastball velocity is still down. I think he just kind of got some good matchups here recently. I'm probably going to pass on McKenzie today. I think there's enough lefties in this lineup. And again, like where Tristan McKenzie struggles is lefties. He has a 15% K rate, 11% walk rate, 210 ISO, 340 WOBA. He's allowing 47% hard hits. His swinging strike rate's under 7, and he has a 13% barrel rate against lefties. So he just really struggles with left-handed hitters. I don't know if I'd full stack Minnesota in this spot, but I definitely think this is a spot you could mini stack Minnesota. I think they're very in play for a mini stack against McKenzie.
I don't know, Steve. I think I'm in the full stack boat here, man. I think with all these lefties, Larnach, Castro, Krylov, Kepler, Julian, like it's just, and then Jeffers has been raking everywhere. I think this is a sneaky good spot for Minnesota. I really like them today. Yeah.
other side of this game, the Cleveland side, what are your thoughts on Cleveland?
Yeah, man, I like Cleveland also. And look, I know that Woods Richardson, he's had some okay starts against some interesting teams, but I don't think he's any match for Cleveland here. So give me Jose Ram at 5,900. For sure, give me my boy Naylor, who's been piling up fantasy points. Josh Naylor, to be specific, and then they've got Jimenez, who's probably going to bat much closer to the top of the lineup today. And I really like those guys, and then they've got a couple cheap bats like Florial and Laureano, Brent. Like if you want to stack them, they got some cheap bats to add in that you can stack. But I'm playing the main guys for sure. And they're probably just mini stacks. I wouldn't full stack Cleveland. That's not my idea. But I'm saying if you decide to, that's where those cheap pieces come in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard not to have interest in Ramirez and Naylor. After that, I hate full stacking Cleveland because they just hit a lot of singles. I mean, that's just me being just straight up blunt. I mean, they're a really good offense in real life. They're a really good offense in real life, but a lot of interest in Ramirez and Naylor. And then, like, if I wanted a third piece, it'd probably be Floral. But I will say they've been using Manzardo a little bit. He's gonna get it going. Like, he's eventually gonna get it going. So I'm pretty sure he had really good pop in AAA, if I remember correctly when I looked at him. He had 300, 9 home runs, in 128 at bats. So he's going to eventually get it going. This is a good spot, right? Like, this is a guy that doesn't have a huge strikeout upside, so don't hate him in this spot.
Yeah.
Mets, Marlins, 7.5 total. Mets a 125 favorite. We got Christian Scott against Jesus Luzardo. Any interest here in Christian Scott?
Stevie, he's 8,100. I do have some interest. I might actually play Christian Scott today. Now, here's the interesting part. Miami's not as high a strikeout team as one would think, but I don't think they're going to pummel anyone right now. And I know they've scored some runs a few times here recently, but Scott at 8,100, I'm okay with it, man. Like, we got to play some pitchers. I think this is a better spot than some of the upper echelon pitchers are getting, so I like him at 8,100.
You know where Christian Scott went to school, right?
Was it University of Florida?
He's a Gator. We haven't had a chance to talk about him yet. Like, he hasn't been he must have like pitched on like weekends, or he has been like on slates where like just not on the main slates, or pitched on slates that we haven't had a chance.
6 o'clock game or 4 o'clock game, something in between. Yeah.
So he actually went to high school really close to me, like really close to me, and then but he's a Gator. Gosh, man, I am very excited about his prospects. Like, okay, taking the Gator side, taking somewhat local kid out. He has a big arm, big control, big arm, and like that's huge, right? And now like he gets a great matchup here. His dangerous stuff is he throws his fastball, changeup, slider out of like the same arm slot, and I mean scouts love this guy. Like, he's a top prospect. I think he's 3rd overall, top pitcher in the Mets organization, 3rd overall in their organization behind I think Jet Williams. I forget who the other guy is, but I know Jet Williams is number 1 for the Mets. Christian Scott's a huge prospect, huge arm, really good stuff. He's 8,100 in Miami facing the Marlins. And going back, dude, do you know how many people are going to be at this game for him? Like, family and friends? Like, I know we don't like talk about that all the time, but this is a Florida kid pitching in Miami. He started his first game in Tampa. Like, all his family and friends are going to be back down in Miami to watch him pitch here. So I like Christian Scott a lot. We're not getting the discount like we did last time out. gosh, I wish he was on a main slate at 4,700 against Atlanta. I would have played him. So 8 strikeouts against Atlanta. Love this spot for Christian Scott. One of my favorite pitchers on the slate. Jesus Luzardo is too cheap today. We know Jesus Luzardo has not been the dominant pitcher that we saw last year, but he's getting the Mets at home here, and he's 7,400. I didn't think I was going to like him. I thought he was going to be like 85 to like 9,500 when I was like breaking down the slate, but like I was like on the fence at thinking that he was going to be higher price than this, but I'm like, I think this is a great spot. I mean, this is a guy, he's eventually going to get it going. I've looked at some of his advanced stuff. Like, it's not as bad as you would seem. His swinging strike rate is 15%. It's higher than it was last year. His whiff rate's 31%. That's higher than it was last year. He's getting a little unlucky. He's getting a little unlucky. Like
8 Ks in his last start, though.
Yeah, lefties have a 440 BABIP against him this year. Like, he's getting a little unlucky. I like Luzardo a lot at this price point. I did not expect him to be at this price point.
Yeah, and Stevie, I mean, I think it's come down because, number one, he was kind of out of the picture for a few weeks, had a couple rough starts. But price is king in DFS, Stevie. If he's 9,500, we don't play him today. At 7,400, Stevie, just for a reference here, these are all the pitchers in the 7K range, just in the 7K range that are ahead of him. Tyler Anderson, Kyle Gibson, John Means. Listen, I don't think we would play these guys over him in a general sense. And then guys in his general area, Chris Bassett, Simeon Woods Richardson, Frankie Montas, Hunter Brown 6,900, Clevenger 67. So we're getting close to 1,000. But Jesus Luzardo should not be 7,400, Stevie. And I think at that price, you play him against anybody almost anybody, especially the gutless Mets.
Well, you have to remember too, he went on the IL. That was his first start back. And he looked sharper, way sharper than he has all year. And we kind of were saying, like, is he hurt? Like the first whole month of the season, I'm like, is Luzardo hurt? He missed a couple weeks. He came back. He threw 79 pitches. His fastball sat at 95, which is a really good, number for him coming back. And his stuff looked way better. So I think like maybe there was something there. And the fact that like he took a couple weeks and yeah, I mean, I think it's great that he came out and had, I wouldn't say a dominant performance, but he pitched really well. 1 walk, 8 strikeouts against Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a really good team against left-handed pitching, and it was an elbow that they listed for his 15-day IL or whatever, but I think he throws 90-ish pitches here. I think he's too cheap. Any interest in the Mets bats?
Maybe if you want to play Pete Alonso, but I'm not really playing the Mets today.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if you want a little 3-man here, Martinez, Alonso, Marte, done. I mean, I don't even have to get into more than that. I don't really have any interest in Miami outside of maybe Jazz, but like Jazz as a one-off is tough nowadays. But it's the thing that has stood out to me with Jazz. It's like he's still running. Like he has 8 stolen bases on the year. He has 5 home runs. Like he's a guy that can still get there in so many different ways. Like, you don't ever wish for like walks, but like if he walks, like he still has the upside to steal a base. So he doesn't necessarily kill you with walks where like a guy like Pete Alonso walks, you're like, gosh, you're not getting that stolen base.
Yeah, for sure. I prefer Alonso to hit with people on base. Like just give me a double and some RBIs. Like, because if he's up there solo at the plate, it's probably 0 or 14. That's it. I'm kidding, but you get what I'm saying, Stevie. Like, he doesn't have a lot of other ways to get there besides hitting and driving in runs.
Any interest in the Marlins outside of Jazz?
No.
Yeah, I think it's a quick note too. San Diego at Atlanta. We got the knuckleballer on the hill, 8.5 total. Atlanta 215 favorite. Waldron against Freed. Any interest in the knuckleballer against Atlanta?
No, I'm not playing Matt Waldron.
Yeah, I'm not either. He'll have good games from time to time if the knuckler is knuckling. But yeah, just fly ball, kind of like a fly ball guy more. But I actually have some interest in Freed today. Will, like,
Yeah.
San Diego. I tweeted this out. I tweeted this out the other day. I was like, San Diego might be the worst, best team in baseball. You look at the talent in that lineup, and you're like, man, this team is really good. And then you look what they do on a nightly basis, and you're like, what is going on? They have a bunch of ground ball hitters. Max Fried, a ground ball guy. Like, I could see Max Fried getting like 5-6 strikeouts, but throwing like 7 good innings here. And like, they've let him go over 100 pitches in 3 straight. So I think Max Fried, health-wise, is back. And I think San Diego is gutless. I have a slight interest. Like, again, it's just one of those slates where I'm going to mix a little bit of pitching together. I have a ton of interest in Cortez. I have a ton of interest in Scott. But outside of that, I'm going to kind of mix it together.
Stevie, every time I see Chris Sale take the mound, and now that Max Fried seems to be healthy, and he takes the mound, I just get more and more disappointed in our season.
With Strider?
If you had Spencer Strider with this group, this would have been probably the best pitching group he's had since he's been there in terms of health. And, but we don't have that. Max Fried has been pitching a lot better, always has had the ground balls. And, usually I don't want to pick on San Diego. But, man, this team is like fool's gold, Stevie. It's like they've got all the name value in the world, but they don't get it done. Now, this is a part upgrade for them. Don't get me wrong, but I think Fried. I do think Fried's strikeout upside may not quite be there. I don't think he gets more than 5-6 max, but I'm with you. I think he could go 7 innings, and that's where I think that little bit of extra value, and hopefully we can pull out the win on DraftKings. We could end up with a pretty nice score here, 8,800. All that to say, I'm in on Fried.
Any interest in the Padres bats?
No. Nope.
Yeah. I don't think I can do it either.
Fried's a good pitcher, man. Like, he's a good pitcher for sure.
He's such a bad pitcher to stack against. Like, he's just so good at generating ground balls and stuff. So any interest here in the Atlanta bats?
Oh, yeah, plenty, Stevie. Like, this is, once again, I'm not going to get caught slipping, not stacking my team, Stevie, especially when they've got, not only do they have the name value, they have just good hitting in general. So, love these guys. Ozuna's been hitting well. Harris is starting to crank it up. Matt Olson hit a home run, had a monster day one of these days. D'Arnaud's been good this season. Like, this lineup overall. Ozzie Albies is back. Obviously, he's been back a couple weeks. So I like this team, and they definitely need to be stacked today.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to be stacked today too. Oakland at Kansas City. No total in this game. It sounds like it's going to be Moeller against Reagans. I've looked a couple places. I don't know if Kyle Moeller is like officially announced yet, but that's what I've seen in a couple places. And then a couple places it's just been blank. And then we know Cole Reagans is pitching on the other side of this game. Any interest here in Moeller if he does end up starting?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pass on Kyle Muller as well. And then Cole Reagans, I think you got to attack the strikeout ceiling. Like, just about any time that Cole Reagans is going to take the hill, I'm going to be interested in his strikeout ceiling. I will say, like, Oakland is definitely better against left-handed pitching than they are against right-handed pitching. But I still think, like, you got to take the shot on Reagans here.
Yeah, Reagan's has had, 2 or 3 rough starts this season. One just came at the hands of the Angels. I'm not worried about it. I'm sure he will rebound just fine. And even if he doesn't put up 30, Stevie, I think he can put up something similar to what we saw in that Milwaukee start, where he gives up maybe a few runs, but still has the strikeout upside to get there. He ends with 23 fantasy points at 9,200. I definitely think with his strikeout upside, he could get there for us. So I like him. I think the price is fair.
All right. Any Oakland bats against Reagans?
I mean, if you're hunting for power, I mean, you could always play one of these guys. I don't plan to play any Oakland guys today just because I think the slate's too big and I don't need them. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can always take shots on Roker. He's just a guy that has so much upside, even in a tough matchup. I have a lot of interest in Kansas City today. I hope that the fact that, we've already talked about, Yankees. We talked about Toronto. We talked about Minnesota. I don't know if they'll be chalky. We talked about Atlanta. I think this might be one of those slates where we potentially get a lower on Kansas City. And, we haven't even talked about the Dodgers against Frankie Montas today. So,
yeah.
What are your thoughts on Kansas City?
Yeah, man, love Kansas City today. This has probably been one of the teams I've stacked the most. Give me Perez. Give me Bobby Witt. Secretly, Stevie, Garcia. Michael Garcia has been one of my favorite rosters of this team just to add into the stack. Prices come down to 4,400 here. So not incredibly expensive anymore. I mean, I think we got him up to 47-ish, 49-ish. I think he was getting close to 5K, but back down to 44. So I really like that. I don't mind Massey and some of these other guys from the outfield. They'll probably bat, and he's cheap, and he's cheap for a reason. They'll probably bat Renfroe today, I'm sure. I know Renfroe hasn't been great, but man, I think this power's got to come around at some point, Stevie. And so at 2,900, I know he hasn't been completely there, but once again, I think the power will come around. I think he's a little bit too cheap.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me with Renfroe is he's not getting a lot of barrels and his hard hit rate is way down. That's the only thing. He has been fantastic against lefties throughout his career. So if he's in there, I'm definitely going to take shots. I love Garcia and Witt in this spot. Perez, those would be my 3 favorites. I'd build around those 3 in most of my stacks for Kansas City. You got to build around Witt. He's just, the dude has so much ceiling.
He's another guy that's going to steal the base if he can do it.
Yeah, or if not 2 or 3.
Yeah, I was going to say multiple, actually.
Yeah. All right, we got LA at Texas, 9 total in this one. Texas, a 164 favorite. Tyler Anderson, Andrew Heaney. Any interest here in Tyler Anderson going up against Texas?
No.
Isn't he just the classic, I'm going to pitch 5 to 7 innings, not generate a lot of strikeouts, give up a few runs, and just eat innings type pitcher? He's just... Yeah. That is exactly how I look at Tyler Anderson. I don't think there's
4 to 5 strikeouts every day.
No ceiling. Just no ceiling.
Yeah.
I don't see him topping 30 in a start. I just don't see it. And I don't even know if 30 is necessary at this price point, but I'm not.
He'd have to go 9 innings probably to clear 30 fantasy points. For him.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a ton of interest in him here. No. Andrew Heaney on the other side. Any interest in Heaney in this one?
Oh, man. The Andrew Heaney experiment, Stevie.
They keep enticing us with the price tag, man.
That's what I was going to say. At this point, you're just hoping.
Just get rid of that one bad inning. That one bad inning to start that he has.
The 6K price tag that he's pretty much been at all season. Stevie, I don't think he's been over 7K. No, at the beginning, but he's been under that since that time. I think you play him just for some salary relief. And Stevie, if we get anything close to his last 4 starts, I take it. 16, 19, 17. I'm not saying he's going to repeat that. I'm saying if you told me right now he was going to get anywhere between 16 and 18 fantasy points, I'd say, Stevie, I'm in. Give me Andrew Heaney. I think I play him for that reason. Run EDLC. Another stolen base, Stevie. My gosh.
Oh, guy.
I need to patent that before someone steals it. That's the RotoGrinders exclusive. Run EDLC.
That guy is fun, man. Yeah, I mean, Heaney, if you're playing 150, I think you have to have a little exposure. If he gets through that one inning, like he has 25 plus point upside if he can get through that one inning. He has plenty of strikeout upside even in this matchup. So yeah, I mean, overall, if I'm running 150, I won't run 150, so I probably don't get to a lot of him. But if I were running 150, I'd play him today.
Yeah, and I'm picking up my girls this weekend, so I'm not going to be heavy MME this weekend either.
Gosh, Texas against Anderson seems like a good spot, and like on paper, it seems like a good spot. And then you're like, man, who are the righties that we're playing in this spot? I mean, Garcia and Simeon for sure, but with some of the injuries, like the righties that you typically would play in this lineup are not in this lineup right now. I mean, with Langford hurt, with Jung hurt, I don't know if you could necessarily stack Texas in this spot. I definitely have interest in Grossman, of all people, if he cracks the lineup at 3,300. Grossman is a lot more power from the right side of the plate than he does from the left side of the plate. But yeah, I mean, Garcia and Simeon for sure. And then just kind of looking to see what the lineup kind of produces here. Duran is someone that's really good against lefties, but not going out of my way to stack Texas today, even though I don't hate this spot. Anderson isn't a guy that typically gives up more than like 1 or 2 home runs in a start either. We lose him again?
Nope, you did not.
Oh, okay.
That was my one mute for the day.
Yeah, all right.
Garcia and Simeon definitely on the list. More so Garcia for me because obviously I feel like he's more likely to hit a home run than Simeon. But so I like him a ton. And he's probably an ultimate one-off play today for me, in my opinion.
All right, we got Milwaukee at Houston, 8.5 total in this game. It's a pick'em game, which is so weird to me. I've already bet Milwaukee money line for what it's worth. When I saw this game was a pick'em, I instantly bet money line for Milwaukee. Just saying, you don't have to do it. It's not like a safe bet by any means, but I am a full believer at this point in the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, that is just, I'm here, I'm in for it. It's not changing. We got Freddie Peralta on the hill. Tough matchup against Houston. Talent-wise, by far the biggest talent on the slate. Any interest here in Freddie Peralta?
Stevie, I don't know if I can do it against Houston. I don't think I can. Like, I can't, man. Attacking Houston is just a problem. So I'm not playing Peralta today as, the most expensive pitcher on the slate. I think cheaper guys are better.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, even in like a 3-inch max build, I think I'd have slight interest in Peralta. It definitely would be an ownership thing. He's the most talented pitcher on the slate. You worry about the recent struggles for Freddie Peralta, but the guy on the other side of this game, man, like Hunter Brown is not good. Like he has like prospects of being good at some point, but like he has not been good at all this year. Like his WOBA's at 418, his ISO's over 200. He's giving up a ton of hard contact to righties. Like I don't want to play Hunter Brown at all. Like not even like remotely thinking twice about it.
Yeah, I'm not playing him either. 0 shares.
My brew crew, man. Like I love stacking the Brewers. Like it's just one of my favorite things to do this year. It's just fun. Like every slate, watching them play, it's just so much fun. Let's get into this right here. We gotta have some Brewers today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And look, Christian Yelich being bad, 5,600. I talked about Bowers, who's been batting in mid to low mid of this lineup. Frelick, all these guys, Stevie. I mean, they've been fantastic. Willie Adames. I'm not afraid of any side of the plate with Brown here. Terang, he's been good. And obviously one of the hottest hitters in baseball, Wilson Contreras here. He's been amazing. So I'm with you. The Brewers are definitely a team we want to get involved with. Aaron Rasmus says the Dodgers will tie it up this inning. I sure hope the guys that I need are part of that rally. Oh, please.
Well, they just brought in Nick Martinez, so
Freddie Freeman. I need Freddie Freeman. I don't know how many fantasy points Freddie Freeman. See, I'm derailing the show again, Stevie, so I'm sorry. But Otani's already there. I need Betts. I need Freeman, unless Freeman's already there. Somebody give me an update here. Thanks, Derek. I know you agreed to do it. Appreciate you, buddy. And back to Stevie's personal favorite of this season, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, I didn't. My Brewers hat got put up on the rack, so I couldn't wear it. But yeah, I mean, I love the Brewers in the spot. Adames, Joey Ortiz, Hunter Brown has been a little reverse splitsy this year. He's given up more power to right-handed bats, so Ortiz is off to a fantastic start. Like, he is hitting the ball really well. The power has started to come around. He's had a home run now in 3 of his last 8 games. And he's just hitting. He's hitting. He has upside. So I like Joey Ortiz. Frelick took a lefty deep the other day. Love to see it from Sal Frelick. Like, watch out for the Brewers, man. Yelich is back. When they get Hoskins back in 4 to 6 weeks, just watch out for this team. A lot of upside with the Milwaukee Brewers. Yep. Houston, I know like Freddie Peralta has been struggling, but man, you want to talk about a team struggling. What about the Houston Astros? They've had some really good matchups, and they have really struggled in those matchups.
They just went off for like 12 runs like 2 days ago.
No. Listen here, Will. Listen here. They got to get it going. All right. They faced Joey Estes and did not do anything.
I know.
Fly ball Estes.
I get it. Tucker's been good this season. I know Alvarez hasn't been.
Tucker's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he's been amazing. Bregman started to heat up this week. I think Houston's going to be fine. What I will say is this. Despite what you think, this is still a really low strikeout team. And, man, everybody's coming in saying, Alvarez, listen, guys, he'll come around. Jose Ramirez went through this like 2 or 3 seasons ago, Stevie, when he just wasn't hitting well. But listen, these good hitters will come around. Bill Cove, I'm going to disagree with you. You're saying Diaz is fading. He's not fading, okay? It will come back around. All baseball hitters are going to go through a slump. If you haven't played baseball, and I'm not trying to insult anyone, but if you haven't played baseball, you may just not get it. But sometimes it's timing. Sometimes it's, swing play. It's a lot of things that could go into it. But once he fixes it, and you're right, Derek, bring back Michael Brantley, it'll change everything. But he's retired now. But either way, Stevie, I'm not loading up on Houston. But I do think some of these bigger bats here, mainly Tucker and Alvarez, I don't mind one-offs for them.
All right, makes one of us. All right, we got Boston at St. Louis. 8 total in this game. We got a pick'em game. Bayo against Gibson. Any interest in my boy Bayo at 8K against St. Louis?
I don't hate it, Stevie. I know he, came back against Washington. Washington's a low strikeout team. Oh, bets fly out. Come on, buddy. Washington's a low strikeout team, but St. Louis, it's not great. I'm taking Bayo at 8K. I think he can get through. He went 68 pitches. I think he gets to 85 to 90 here, Stevie. And if I'm right, I think at 8K we play him.
Yeah, I mean, if we do the 15 to 20 pitch rule that we talk about all the time, talk about all the time, he's at 83, 88 in that range. kind of baked into the price a little bit for Bayo with the matchup. I mean, St. Louis is awful. I'll keep saying it. They're not a good offense. So any pitcher that I think has a little bit of talent, I'm willing to roll the dice a little bit against Cardinals. And I do think that like Bayo has some talent. So I don't mind Bayo. He's not my favorite, but I don't mind him today. I think he's okay. I wish, like, if we knew he was going to throw 95 plus pitches, I'd have interest, but I really do think he's going to be like 83 to 88 pitches in this spot. Kyle Gibson, other side. I mean, I don't mind taking pitchers against the Red Sox either, but like Kyle Gibson is not someone I think I'll play at all this entire season.
Yeah, I'm not playing Kyle Gibson. Forget about it.
If Kyle Gibson was the best pitcher on the slate, on any slate, I'd take the slate off and move on. Yeah, I mean, 19.9% Ks, 10% walks, 49% hard hits, 303 WOBA. I don't think this is a spot I want to play Gibson. Let's talk Boston bats. Kind of have slight interest in the Red Sox bats today. Abreu, Devers, Duran, like the top half, I think is perfectly fine here against Gibson. He is a lot worse against lefties than he is righties.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely with the lefties, but if I take this team, I don't want to leave out Tyler O'Neill, man. Like he's been crushing the baseball, and while he could strike out or fly out a couple of times, he could also send one over the fence. And obviously, we're going to be playing Devers at 5K. So I like all these lefties. I will be so glad when Yoshida gets back for this team, Stevie. And let's just see how it starts to shape up. And I know he's not like a massive power guy, but another just really good hitter to add to this lineup. So excited to see how this comes together for Boston. But yeah, definitely playing these lefties.
Bill says, I love how Stevie cracks himself up. I have dad jokes for days. I have 3 kids. I have dad jokes for days. Any interest?
Thanks for the updates, Derek, by the way. Thanks for the updates. But so Otani's already over his fantasy point.
Yeah, you're good on Otani. You need Freeman to start off with a bang next inning. Any interest in St. Louis?
No, I'm not playing this team. I'm not doing it, Stevie.
Yeah, I can't do it. Detroit at Arizona, 142 favorite. Detroit 8 total. Skubal against Nelson. Any interest here in Skubal?
I've got way more interest in Skubal than I did in Freddie Peralta, Stevie. Once again, I understand that Arizona's a good offense, so I get it. But I think Skubal's a good pitcher, man. And even if things aren't going all the way right for him, I think his combination of skills, man, he can keep the ball on the ground a little bit and still pick up a few Ks along the way. So at 10K, do I think he might be a little overpriced for this slate? Maybe. But I intend to play him. I like him a ton.
Yawning again. Here's what I'll say. This is what I'm going to say about Skubal. I don't think there's slates that you don't play him. I think he has massive ceiling on every single slate that he pitches. He's a guy that can get double-digit strikeouts against any team in baseball. What I will say is if we look at active roster WRC Plus, Arizona is first in WRC Plus against left-handed pitching this season. Their strikeout rate's under 18%. Their ISO is really solid. Their WOBA is really good. Their slugging is really good. They've hit a ton of home runs. They steal bases. They are a tough matchup, especially in this ballpark against left-handed pitching. So I will point that out. Like I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate and just say like both sides. I don't think I'd play Arizona bats. We'll talk about that in a second. But I will say like there is a little bit of a pump the brake on Skubal, but he is one of a few pitchers that can go for 30 plus on the slate. So definitely interested in him. Nelson on the other side of this game, this guy is not good. He's just not good. Like, I don't understand why Nelson is still pitching in the bigs right now. He's got to figure it out. Like, he's getting hit really hard. Like, the Padres got 8 hits against him. I know that says a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not playing Nelson. even if he's 6K. I've actually got way more respect for Detroit this season than I have. So, yeah, we're not playing Nelson today.
Bats. Dare we play some Detroit bats today?
I think we do, Stevie. I actually like the Detroit bats today. I mean, they got Riley Green, who's probably going to lead off at 5,500. Is he expensive? Yes. I don't care. The reason why I'm saying this, Stevie, I think this is interesting because some of them are expensive, and I think people will stay away. So I really like him. I don't mind Torkelson. I think they should bet Vierling today. Javi Baez is obviously at the bottom of the lineup, and Mark Connor's been good too. But generally speaking, Stevie, I think I like the Detroit Tigers. I think they've got some upside here. I am in on the Tigers today. Kerry Carpenter, all these guys. I like this team today.
Yeah, I like the little 3-man of like Green, Carpenter, Perez. It's not a cheap stack anymore, so it's not going to be popular whatsoever. Those would be my favorite. Kerry Carpenter is a fantastic play today. I like this spot a lot. Detroit ballpark upgrade going into Arizona. So, yeah, I mean, I think Detroit very playable today. Arizona, again, I think that this is a really, really tough spot for Scoble against Arizona, but also Scoble's a really good pitcher. So I don't think I want to like try to figure out who is going to get the Scoble on Arizona if he does struggle a little bit.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. Love that call. I didn't intend to play any Arizona bets today. Definitely more on the Scoball side than Arizona. So I'm in.
Detroit is unreliable for everything. Cincinnati out of LA taking on the Dodgers, 8.5 total in this one. Dodgers a 198 favorite. We got Frankie Montas against James Paxton. I can't read my own writing sometimes, so I had to look at it twice. Any interest here in Montas against the Dodgers?
No.
I was hoping you'd get a quick no. I think that is definitely the right answer for Montas. Nowhere near where he was a few years ago. Sitting at 18% Ks this year, giving up 47% hard hits. Really just not missing bats. Swinging strike rate way down. So really struggles with lefties. And hey, they have a few good lefties in this lineup. I don't know if you've heard of some of these guys before. Like Ohtani.
One's coming up the next inning.
Yeah, he is. I know you're rooting for it.
Whoa, please.
What are we doing? What are we doing with James Paxton today?
I am not playing James Paxton either. 0 shares, Stevie. None.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of potential strikeouts here for Paxton against Cincinnati. They're a high strikeout team, but he just hasn't been good. I know he pitched really well last time out, but it was San Diego. I mean, they're just gutless. I think this is a really tough spot for him. If you're playing 150, he might make the player pill, but I don't think I could play him over Christian Scott. I think I just eat the ownership on Christian Scott and play Christian Scott. So yeah, I have no interest in Paxton today. I like De La Cruz a lot more against right-handed pitching than I do against left-handed pitching. He is a walking stolen base every time he gets on base. He's 6,100. I can be a little picky when he's this price, so I probably won't play a lot of De La Cruz today. Stevenson and Steer and Candelario are the three that I like here against Paxton.
Yeah, I mean, I like this whole team, man. I don't trust Paxton right now, and I'm with you. Steer, Candelario. I'm in, man. This whole team. What I wouldn't do to see Joey Votto back in a red uniform. I'm semi-kidding, but I like the Reds today, man, and hopefully they pull through for us.
All right, Dodgers side.
Oh yeah,
big slate. They're not going to have the ownership they should. Gotta love this, man. I absolutely love this spot.
Yeah, Outman. So here's the thing, Steve. If you want to play pitchers a little bit more in the middle, you should be able to get a nice little wraparound. Outman, Lux, Betts, Ohtani, or Freeman. You see what I'm saying? You can wrap that thing around, and that's a really nice, affordable stack. by getting those guys on the cheap end on the backside of this thing. I really like this spot today for them. Muncie finally priced up Stevie into that 5K range where he had been in that 4K range most of the season, but obviously, has taken off like a rocket ship here in terms of price over the past couple starts. And Stevie, that's with a lack of production. We had a couple of, big games, and then they still took too long to price him up in the San Francisco series. But I like Muncie also, and maybe he's another guy. Maybe you can take Muncie and bring him down with maybe like a 4, 5, 7, 9 or something like that. But either way, like Muncie, like this whole team, and hopefully they pull through for us.
All right, finish it out. Anything's possible, right? Like Dodgers, they really struggled, or they're really struggling to start Thursday's game. So not always a luck by any means. It's baseball. Colorado at San Francisco, 7.5 total. Giants, a 172 favorite. We got Feltner against Harrison. Any interest here in Mr. Ryan Feltner?
No, I don't want to play Feltner. He hasn't been, let's call it terrible, but I'm not playing Feltner.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in Feltner either. I think they have enough right-handed bats where I don't want to touch him here. Kyle Harrison, I think, is interesting, and one of the reasons that I don't have a ton of interest in Paxton is because he's in the same price range as Harrison, and here we go again, Rockies, right? Rockies just in general, especially when they get outside of cores. I know they just beat up on Dylan Cease. That's fine. I think this is a spot we definitely can take some shots on Harrison.
Yeah, for sure, man. I like Harrison. 8,200, definitely affordable, Stevie, and at home. So while I don't think he's got the crazy strikeout upside as some of these other guys, I think he has enough. And if he can limit the run damage, Stevie, then we could be looking at a really nice performance for him. So I'm definitely playing Harrison also.
Any interest here in the Rockies bats?
Negative. I don't care how well they played against San Diego. Not playing the Rockies.
Diaz got hurt in that series too, so he's one of their big right-handed bats. Tovar's cheap at 4K. I think you could potentially take a shot on Tovar. Bouchard at 3,500 maybe. Rogers at 3K. They're cheap, but probably pass. Giants are interesting. Feltner not great, but who are we playing? That's the problem. Just in general here. Is who do we take shots on with Conforto out, with Lee out, with Soler out? This just isn't a great San Francisco lineup, but there's a lot of cheap bats in this lineup right now because of all the injuries. Are we playing a guy like Luis Matos if he cracks the lineup and has a good lineup spot? He's really, really cheap. Ramos is cheap at 2,700. And what Lucinio? Didn't he just get called up too? Yeah. Big prospect, right? He's a big prospect, isn't he?
I'm trying to think. Do you think they're going to lead off with Wade?
Yeah, one of the biggest prospects in baseball. It's tough to say. I wouldn't be shocked. They've called him up now. I wouldn't be shocked if Luciano is hitting leadoff. Big power, big arm. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he leads off. He pinch hit in a spot against the Dodgers the other day. I wouldn't be shocked if he's leading off in this game.
Yep.
They've called him up now. Now that he's called up, I feel like they're going to give him a shot. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the biggest prospects in baseball. It's not just he's the number one prospect for the Giants, but this is one of the top prospects in baseball in general. So I think anytime you call up a top 25 prospect, I think you're going to try to get him at bats for sure. So I wouldn't be shocked if he bats leadoff here at 2,900. So the only problem with him is shortstop is just a position we want to pay up for on most slates, especially this one. Witt, Betts, Henderson, Seager, Adames, all of those guys could hit multiple home runs. Bichette. So I don't know, if you really play a lot of him because of that, but like he might be the best shortstop, like punt, if he is leading off. So it'd be interesting to see the like, dynamic of lineup builds if that happens.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't hate some of these cheap pieces, but I wouldn't be stacking this team full stack. I mean, Steve, like you said, just so many guys are injured right now. It's like pretty much their whole main lineup outside of Yaz and a couple other, like they're down. Like Lee's down, Solaire's down, Conforto's down. Bailey's down. Like it's just, man, it's rough. So yeah, I think I would just mini stack this team if anything.
All right, let's play the morning grind game, and then we'll get out of here for the weekend. Through it all. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. We have a few options here today. Who do you got?
Man, I'm going with Jesus Luzardo, man. He feels like the best option in my opinion. 7,400. I mean, you just can't beat that pricing.
Yeah, I see you smiling. You see me smashing my pen up against my. I knew that was coming. That's who I had written down. Obviously, if you didn't get that out of me, like smashing my pen on the chair or on the thing. I mean, I don't have a ton of interest in these guys in general in this range. Like the range right above this, Bayo, Scott, Harrison, just so good.
He's fringe.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sorry. I think potentially means, but I was gonna say Andrew Heaney for 6 or more strikeouts.
Gotcha.
Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
Stevie, we got a lot of options. Give me Tristan McKenzie though at 8,700.
Yeah, I feel like Will snuck a peek at my sheet today.
Not
man. Cool, man, not cool. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys actually get there, but I'm going to go James Paxton. He gets blown up way too much, and they're really quick to hook him sometimes. So I'm going to go Paxton not to get there today.
Paxton was my number 2, so yeah.
There you go. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who's going yard today?
Yep, I was saving this guy. Well, not saving. I mentioned him in the podcast earlier, and I talked about him being the ultimate one-off. Adolis Garcia from the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I think that's a great call. A lot of options today, but I am going to go a little off the board, I feel like, and go Josh Naylor to hit a home run today. And that's hard for me. I don't typically say a lot of Cleveland bats. So give me Josh Naylor to go yard. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who do you like to get 2 hits today?
Man, give me Alex Verdugo, 3,800 from the Yankees, facing Clevenger.
Yeah, I'm going to go to my Brewers. I'm sure this shocks everybody that I'm going to my Brewers here, but give me my boy absolutely crushing the baseball right now. Give me Joey Ortiz. Just love this spot for him against Hunter Brown.
3 steals. My gosh, man.
Just keep making those make those rookie cards keep going up. Just jeep. I got something in PSA right now. Just need those to come back 10s, and I need him to keep stealing bases. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who do you got today? A lot of options.
Listen, I'm gonna stay at home, man. Give me the Braves. I know we hadn't mentioned them much, but yeah, give me the Braves against Waldron.
A lot of options. Feel like I'm gonna go way back. Give me Yankees against Mike Clevenger.
Yeah, like it.
That was a long time ago. We talked about them a long time ago, like over an hour ago. Any player props or pick 'em plays that you like here on this slate?
I do. I've got one, Stevie, that's not on the slate. I'm going Paul Skeens here at 6.5 strikeouts against the Cubs. I want more than that one. So if you can get it, I do
He
like
stole
that
another
one.
base. He just stole another base.
Oh man, run EDLC. Oh gee.
I wish those cards were back already.
This is incredible. Oh man.
Career high. I mean, just don't let that guy get on base, man.
Yeah.
He's at 30 stolen bases now. That's his 30th stolen base of the year.
Unbelievable. That's crazy. I am going to go with Christian Scott more than 5.5, Stevie. I do think that's something that he can pull off against the Marlins.
Yeah, I don't mind that one. I'm going to go under 4.5 strikeouts for Mike Clevinger. You got to pay a little bit of juice right here. 135 on BetMGM, but like this one, Clevinger is not a huge strikeout guy. Perfect lineup last time out. And honestly, like the Yankees are a pretty low strikeout team. So though I like the under on Clevinger strikeouts. No lines really jumping off to me outside of Milwaukee, like I said. I mean, I bet them because it's a pick'em game with Freddie Peralta against Hunter Brown. So that, I mean, and like Boston, St. Louis is a pick'em game with Bayo against Gibson. So I don't even mind the Boston side, but I just don't want to sound biased.
That's literally where I was going. That was my one. That's the one to me. Bayo versus Gibson, Red Sox Cardinals. I think taking the Red Sox money line. That's the one. That's the one that stood out to me. Also.
All right, I just did it, Will. I did a 2-pick parlay because it's fun and I like to have fun. I took the Red Sox and the Brewers money lines plus 250. So there you go. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Everybody enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back in good spirits, ready to roll yet again next week.
All right, that's going to wrap it up here for Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys again on Monday.